I love you. Have a good day. It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things. I think I've done that too much. I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on. Take this elevator. So much work went into this, and I never even thought about it before now. Thousands of hours of people's lives were dedicated to making this box on wire. I just assume it will always work. Only pay attention when something goes wrong. Assumptions, patterns. I've got to pay more attention. I'm going to change things. I don't feel like I chose to be here, but it is a good place. Hmm. Some routine is good, sure. But, I don't know. We're getting lazy. I don't want that. I can't believe how lucky I've been, and I took it for granted. Things are okay, but they're not going anywhere. It's time to take control. I love that cafe. On warm evenings, sometimes I sit there with a glass of wine, waiting to catch Harry on his way back from work. The park is beautiful. He's got to know how I feel about him. I love him so much. Patterns. Every day that alarm goes off. I should change the tone on it. Though, Harry always sleeps through it, so that's something. This isn't what I imagined or wanted. Drifting through one day after another. Together, but not aware? Something like that. I think I'll wear this one. It's Harry's favorite t-shirt on me. I reread the same books time and again. It's comforting, I guess. I love this painting, and I can't remember the last time I really looked at it. These daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further. I usually go to the bathroom first, but I could live dangerously. Maybe I should have breakfast first today. Living on the edge. One change at a time. No pointless changes. I need to get my head in the game. I need to stop running and see what's great right here. Marriage. I should ask Harry to marry me. I want to be his husband. Back when I was at uni and dating Sarah, it didn't feel this way. That was love too, but this, with Harry, I finally get what all the love songs are about. Patterns. The same start again. The same alarm tone that Harry can sleep through. This isn't what I imagined or wanted. Drifting through one day after another. Together, but not aware. Something like that. I think I'll wear this one. It's Harry's favorite t-shirt on me. Great stories trapped in a moment. They're brilliant, but maybe I should add some new ones. Why have I just passed by this for so long? It's beautiful. These daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further. Even here I get into patterns. Bathroom first, then kitchen for breakfast. Maybe I should change that. Changing the routine. I'm so rock and roll. Tea. A man takes the lead, Grandma would tell me. I guess I need to step up to the line. I've got a great thing here. She's a good woman at heart. Old-fashioned, but still, she's right. A man steps up to challenges. I'll ask Harry to marry me, husband and husband for the rest of our lives. I'm not sure Grandma would approve. She's come a long way. It's hard to tell with her.
Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I knew Will since the first day he was born, of course. I will never forget that first moment in the hospital, when James, that's Will's father, handed me my grandson for the first time. He wriggled in his blue blanket, already a strong boy. James liked that punk thing in the 1980s, and looked a terrible mess to me. He ran 3 pubs in London for those sort of people. I would go over to babysit as often as I could. A child needs someone normal in their life. Sharon, Will's mother, met my James when he was working in London. She's American. They broke up for 3 years, and she took Will to America with her. The magazines that Sharon read were full of paintings. I'm not sure they were very suitable for a young boy to be around, but I don't like to judge. It's good for a young boy to be outdoors, but Will never really liked that when he was young. James had horror books in the house, and I'm so glad they were kept on a high shelf away from Will. Terrible things. I just don't understand what pleasure there is in that kind of story. There was always music playing when I got to the house. Some awful racket. Not the sort of thing a child should be hearing. I always turned it off. Will had to play by himself a lot. Sharon had complications at the birth, so he was never going to have brothers or sisters. I loved Will. I always just wanted him to have the best possible start and to be successful. I suppose I sound awful, saying his parents were doing everything wrong. I remember that night because Will had been unusually quiet all evening. He told me that he'd been in a fight. A boy had been calling a dark-skinned girl names. Will was punched in the stomach when he tried to get the boy to stop. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes. I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad? I told him that when he grew up, he would be a good man, able to stand up for others. I suppose I didn't answer his question. I told him that he was right to try to stop the bully. Now I think about this, he didn't seem much happier. What should I have said? Will tripped on a toy when he was going to bed. I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry. He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling. It's funny the things that you remember. A mix of small things, making up a lifetime. I took him to bed to read him a story. He liked ghost stories, but I thought he was too young for them. He would get very scared after the light was out. Sharon kept on buying him more, though. I had to check the room for ghosts before he would sleep. I always looked carefully to reassure him. I remember promising him, while I looked, that I would always protect him. I would always be there for him. I'm sure he thought I just meant about ghosts, but I meant it for everything. I always remember that feeling. I wonder if I knew his life wouldn't be easy. I wasn't reading a new ghost book. I was reading him Grimm's fairy tales. The old stories are much better than these new ones. It was a strange story that night, called The Ungrateful Son. I'll tell it to you. It's only short. Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner. When the man saw his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them, the man didn't want to share his chicken, so he hid it out of sight. The man's father arrived, bid them good day, and continued on his way. The man was happy with himself and told his wife to get the chicken and put it on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad would never leave, and when his wife wanted to help, she was so afraid of it that she dared not go near. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face, and he never rested for the remainder of his life. Like I say, it was a very strange story. Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing. I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe. I didn't know where life was going to take him. I was his grandmother, and I hoped I would help him be a good man. I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday. I never thought it would be easy, but I had raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. The world changes so quickly. I remember the family visiting me when Will was a teenager. Did you ever hear the song Here in My Heart? That was playing when Robert first kissed me. Al Martino had a beautiful voice. They don't sing like that anymore. Such a shame. After James had grown up, I went to New Zealand to visit distant family over there. It was a very long trip in those days, but it's important to keep in touch. We're all so spread apart in our lives now, don't you think? I like to go to the seaside of Brighton. They sell these glass animals there, handmade. I started collecting them years ago, and I still get a new one every time I visit. My husband Robert was a writer, like Will. I think they would have loved talking. Maybe Will's interest would have inspired Robert to push a bit harder in his work. Back then, Diana had just done that interview, and so we were all waiting for the divorce. There was no way we thought that they could stay together. Us old people still think about these things, but no one was saying much, so I started a conversation. I see that Diana is in the news again. It seems like she's never out of it these days. It's about time she stopped keeping everyone waiting.
I think it's sad. She was bullied into all of this from the beginning.
The rest of the conversation didn't go well. Will frustrated me so much. I told you before that Sharon is American. She didn't say anything, which was probably a blessing, really. James took Will's side on it all. He always would be difficult in those kinds of things. I wish I'd never even started the conversation. They didn't want to hear my opinion. "Excuse me, I'm going to make some tea," I said. No one offered to help. I didn't really want tea. I don't think they wanted it either. But I needed to do something. I suppose all this seems like a strange thing to remember, but it was a sad day for me. I was used to James, and of course Sharon being difficult, but not Will like that. I didn't have any choice in my time, but I had a quiet life. It was good enough. Back then, society worked by all getting along. You kept your head down. It's easier to stand up from the crowd now, but, well, I don't think it's right. I wish Will understood that you've got to fit in to get along in life. I was scared for him. He had all these views about things, and it was dangerous. Will was only at the start of his life, but those years are so important. I wanted him to keep his head down, not start arguments. I let the tea brew. And I found myself crying, standing in the kitchen like a silly old what's-it. He was going to go off with views like that and get in trouble, and I couldn't do a thing. I knew something had been broken that day between Will and I. I took a deep breath and pulled myself together. It simply doesn't do to let others see you get upset. I live by myself. I always have done since Robert went. I had felt this was acceptable until then. Feeling distant from your family is the most awful thing. It's the strangest feeling of mourning. I know I'm from a different generation with different values, but I don't think they're all wrong. I wasn't prepared to accept that Will wasn't going to talk to me anymore. His views, I felt he was putting his future at risk. Those views, liberalism and such like, I knew he would change his mind as he got older. What damage might he do to his life before he saw that you need to fit in to get along? I didn't know what to expect that Christmas. I just wanted us to all be close again. But I was nervous. Doing Christmas by yourself takes a lot of work, but I like to keep busy. Will went off to university, but I clearly remember the Christmas that he and the family came home. I kept in touch with a lot of friends. We didn't have email, of course, but even now they just aren't as good as a real letter. I wanted the house to look perfect. Will was going to bring a girlfriend, Sarah, and I wanted her to get the right impression. My family arrived just as the Christmas lunch was ready. It was perfect timing. Will and I hadn't spoken for months. I didn't know if he understood that when we disagreed, it was only because I cared so much about him. Sarah seemed a little shy, but she was lovely. She told us about her university courses and was thoroughly charming. James is like his father, really. A wonderful boy. But I do wish he would apply himself more. Did I tell you that Sharon and James split up for 3 years once? Will spent the time in America with her family. It was hard for me not seeing him. He was 10 and, like most boys, he wasn't interested in writing many letters. Will was growing up to be such a fine man. He doted on Sarah.
Oh, thanks. I felt so proud of Will. He was becoming the man I had hoped he would be. Sarah seemed like such a lovely match for him. He would have a happy, normal life. But that was the last time I saw her. The next summer, I went to visit Will at university. Arriving on time is a common courtesy, so often overlooked, I feel. So I set off in plenty of time to drive down to see him. I ended up being rather early. and it was my first visit to the campus, so I went for a walk. The old buildings there are lovely. There were so many young people there, all full of life and excited about the future. Lots of beautiful girls around, and I was hoping I might spot Sarah. University wasn't a normal option for people in my time, and I never went. A solid education helps to improve a person. I noticed Will from a distance. I've always thought he stood out in a crowd. At first, I couldn't see what he was doing. Then I saw that he was holding hands with a man. And then, right out in front of everyone, they kissed. After everything I had tried to teach him, he went and did that. I couldn't believe it. I knew those views of his would get him in trouble. I left right away. I couldn't think of a single thing I could say to him. Will hadn't seen me. I simply had no idea how I could be expected to act like everything would be okay for him. He was still so young. There are people out there who won't accept that sort of thing. Suddenly, the university seemed ugly, obscene. All that sense of entitlement, but no appreciation. It was full of children, running around abusing the freedom that my generation worked hard to earn for them. I could barely stay civil with anyone there. He had made me furious. He was putting himself in danger after everything I had done for him. That sort of thing. It all just feels wrong to me. Sorry, but that's just the way I feel about this. I barely saw Will for the next few years. I couldn't bring myself to talk to him. Looking back, it was silly. He had gone travelling after university, and I stayed at my house. I said that my husband Robert had died when Will was young, didn't I? It's sometimes hard not to live in the past when you have so much time to yourself. I had all these hopes for who Will would be when he was a grown man. I don't know if he knew how much I loved him when he was growing up. He's still that tiny, playful little boy in my head, I think. But life goes on. I was in the garden. Things do have a habit of getting overgrown if you leave them too long. Will had been travelling the world. I would very occasionally get a postcard from somewhere foreign. This was before he went into the travel journalism. I worried about him so much. How could he be happy when he wouldn't settle down? All he wanted was constant change. Everything needed to be new all the time for him. I got up to answer it and tripped, twisting my ankle in the garden. It hurt like the blazes. Oh! There was nothing I could do. I tried to move, but it hurt too much. I called out for help. I heard footsteps around the side of the house.
Will had come to visit after coming back from travelling. After all I had done, after all I hadn't done, He was the one reaching out to me. He was the one who made the effort.
It'll be all right.
He looked after me anyway. Inside the man he was, I could see for the first time the same kind boy I knew before. I don't claim that I'll ever fully be able to approve of some things,
Let's get you inside.
but I had missed something, distracted by just one part of him. I missed that he was the kind, strong, loving man I had always wanted him to be. The best sort of man. He was even kind to a fool like me. I'll never forget that.
So much changed since Grandma was young. She loves me and knows that I love Harry. I think she's starting to get that, but it's a leap for her. She kept on telling me what a real man should be like. That's not me. But I think I'm okay. I'm the man I grew up to be, and now I'm thinking about marrying Harry. But is this me? Us, now and forever? I love Harry, but he just wants to be here, in these routines. Are we two different people? He built this life for us. I went off and traveled, and he made all this happen. I need to get ready for the day. Love isn't unique. It's common. I was in love with Sarah once. But that changed in the end. What would be the point in marriage? I hurt Sarah when I was with her. I'll hurt Harry too, in the end. I don't deserve someone like him.
My first day at university. My parents drove me in a car stuffed full of everything I owned. I'd been a bit nervous all day, but I felt full-on terrified when we got to the student village. I tried to look confident. It was faked. I'm not sure anyone noticed either way. Paul, my mum's boyfriend, always liked Will. It seemed like I had an enormous amount of stuff. I think Mum or Paul must have picked up the keys from somewhere. Weird that I don't remember how we got them now. I went up first. Walking into my dorm room for the first time, I kind of remember how it felt for me. I never thought back then how it would have felt for Mum and Paul. Soon they were going to drive away and go home to an empty house. Just a few more boxes, and their kid wouldn't be living with them anymore. I wasn't paying much attention to unloading. My room had a really thin nylon carpet and the cheapest mattress the university could find, I think, and I didn't care at all. It was my own space. It had 4 walls and a door that I could lock. I was frightened, sure, but also excited. I had my own key and all the stuff that goes with that. Having a room and being 18, yes, of course I was thinking about dating. I guess everyone was. Wait, no, cute is the right word. I wasn't really thinking about sexy back then. I felt so adult, but I had so much growing up to do. It's funny to think back, like this, now. Will must have been in the lectures over the first few weeks, but I didn't notice him, if I'm honest. I was so busy with everything and just learning how to live, do laundry, cook every day, that kind of thing. I next remember seeing Will through the window of the Union Bar. I remembered he'd looked back at me on that first day, and it made me smile. Britpop was still doing pretty well. Good music, Blur, Pulp, that kind of thing, and Oasis weren't just repeating themselves then. Not that the Union was playing much of those. As much as it was tacky in there, I miss it too. It was crowded, hard to talk, and the floor was sticky from spilled Alka-Pops, but it was fun. I guess I set my sights on him that night. I was determined to at least talk to him. It's not easy to find someone when you're not so tall and the lights are low. Spotting Will in the crowd was hard. It had only been a few weeks, but I felt like a new woman already. Or I was on my way, at least. I know it sounds weird, but I always felt that Will was a good person. The kind of person I wanted to be around. It was true, too. Will was talking to another guy when I found him. I don't remember what I said to join in the conversation. I think I was pretty obvious in my intentions. We had a few drinks and I remember pulling him outside. I could feel my heart racing, that excitement of anticipation. We went to sit just outside the bar. We could still hear the music, and the cold night air felt good. And that was when he first kissed me. Our first proper date was to the cinema. We took seats in the back row, living up to that cliché. We didn't make our lives easier. There's that date night expectation if you sit at the back. We sat there fidgeting, wanting to touch but scared to. I kept on trying to look at him from the side to see if he was looking at me. I wanted to hold his hand, but he seemed to shy away. Or maybe he didn't intend that. I shifted in my seat a bit, letting my leg touch his. I was so smooth. The film had that guy in it who always acts crazy but then does lots of action kick-ass stuff. We weren't really paying attention, I think. It was like everything else faded out. I put my hand on his leg. He turned to me and did that shy smile of his. He put his hand on the side of my face, just gently on the skin, turning me to face him. He closed his eyes and kissed me, placing his lips softly onto mine. We sat with our fingers locked together for the rest of the film, and when it was over we walked out, still holding hands. As we were going though, I had this weird prescient feeling. I could feel I was falling in love fast for the first time, but it was so strong, it would end. Will always gave the impression of confidence, like he always had a grand plan. I wish I knew if he saw that end coming too. Like I felt it was. I don't know if that would have made how it went any easier. I'd been putting off unpacking all of my boxes, but the next day I finally got round to it. I got out the essentials, of course, but I hadn't felt very motivated to do the rest. I think I brought my old books as a comfort thing. I didn't really expect to read them at uni. They were just nice to have around. When I was born, someone from my mum's work gave me a toy bunny. I know it's silly, but it makes me happy. My mum and biological dad split when I was 6. It was rough for a bit, but Mum, me and my brother Andy pretty quickly were happier for it. My bunny makes me think of those good times. My mum gave me a tasseled cloth scarf to remind me of home. She's a right hippie. Will was going to come over later that week, so I unpacked the candles my mum had given me. I wonder if she suspected I'd fall for someone. She's a bit canny like that. I was falling for him too. Is it weird to tell you this? I couldn't make up my mind where to put things. I wanted it to look nice in there. It was my space. It's weird how long you think about such small things. The little choices are important. I guess it didn't make any difference really, but I was happy when I was sure I'd got it right. I wanted to feel comfortable when Will came over. Will and I, it felt like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, and just as likely to burn us both as to make us happy. But what a lovely way to burn. That Christmas, I met Will's family. We'd been together for 4 months. Do you remember me there? I was head over heels in love with him. I didn't say much in case I blurted out something wrong to his family. I kept on wanting to touch him. There was this really good chemistry with him, but with family around, it didn't seem right. I remember he lightly touched the back of my neck as he poured me some wine, and it sent tingles into my stomach. It was a really nice meal, and we all got on okay. You only get to make one first impression, so I probably should have worn something else. I felt quite self-conscious. I loved him so much, but that feeling I had wouldn't go away, that it was all going to end. That Christmas Day, though, I felt like we had a chance. Things were going well, but over the months, I felt the relationship changing. We would listen to music as we fell asleep. Will had a CD recording of a thunderstorm. The sound of the rain was relaxing, but there were a couple of bits of thunder that would make me jump. We listened to a lot of Portishead. Even now when I listen to them, I remember being back in that room, in his arms. We would watch videos in bed together, or whatever was on the TV. There was a transgender character on Coronation Street. We talked about that for a long time. Being straight, I'd never thought much about my sexuality. I never felt that I needed to. I was me. Will was just himself too, and I just kind of accepted that. It's funny to tell you this now, but I was never jealous of Harry. You'd think I would be, but I loved Will so much. I just wanted him to be happy. I could feel the end of it all shaping up, but we had good times anyway. Though sometimes lonely, in a weird way. It felt like we were the only people in the world. Maybe I didn't mind Will getting closer to Harry because it felt like our own love was too much for two people. We were all, Will, Harry and me, studying on the same English degree. There was a spark between Will and Harry, that much was obvious. I didn't feel jealous. I know that sounds weird, but I liked seeing Will happy, and Harry made him feel that way. I'll never forget that time, seeing their friendship grow. The longer we dated, the more we stayed in. We would go out to meet up with Harry and a couple of other friends, but it was mostly just Will and me. It still makes me smile, thinking of that room and those days. It might seem odd to you, but it was my suggestion. I told Will to ask out Harry. I loved him. I knew it would make us all happy for Will to have Harry in his life. It was something he needed to do. I feel lucky. How many times in your life will you be sure you've helped a person find their true love? Though it was rough. For a long time, I wished that true love had been me. Let me paint a picture for you of the end. Will had been seeing both me and Harry at the same time for about 6 months. I can see you think that sounds weird, but it really wasn't. We were all open, safe, and honest about it. The picture. It was October, and we met in the basement of the Royal Oak. Smoking was still allowed in pubs, and the faint smell clung to everything. The chairs were covered with a tapestry weaving type of fabric that was worn away from years of use. The basement was crowded with heavy oak furniture, with the wood grain sealed away under layers of old varnish. I knew what I was going to say to Will. Before I went to university, a friend asked me what love is. I told her that love was being able to tell a person that you never wanted to see them again. Even though it broke your heart to do it, you would tell them to leave you because it was right. I was quite happy with that answer. Like love was something from a Shakespearean tragedy. I hadn't been in love when I said it. I didn't expect to have to do it. I didn't expect to be right. We need to talk.
Oh?
This needs to change.
You mean us?
I feel like I'm getting in your way.
You're not. This is good.
It is good, but it's not right. It's not forever.
Isn't this what you want?
I'm happy with you. I love you, but this isn't about me.
I love you too. I want to be with you.
I know. But that doesn't mean you should be.
Is this it? Can I do anything differently?
No, you've not done anything wrong.
I don't want this.
Me either. But it's right.
I love you.
I love you too. I was so in love. I can't tell you how much it hurt to let him go. I never forgot him. Love doesn't just stop when you split up. It barely even fades, really. It just mellows with age and memory. I've never loved anyone like that again. It took me 2 years to get over Will. I could see him falling in love with Harry. Soft and deep love, not like the fire we had. It was beautiful. I didn't really consider that we could all have kept on dating together. You know, it might have worked for a while, but that wasn't what we did. It's just the past. I don't know if what I felt was a proper depression, but it was definitely a really bad time for me. I just worked really hard all of the time and got a great degree grade from it, so that was something good for me from it all.
I didn't stop loving Sarah. I haven't stopped. Though it's different now. We still meet and catch up. There was a reason we dated. She's wonderful. We both moved on okay. In the end. I felt awful when we broke up. But it was right. I loved two people and she saw a future for me that I couldn't. She's smarter than me, I guess. I wouldn't be here now without her. I've got to remember to appreciate this time more. All the tiny moments make up our lives. I can't believe I'm thinking about proposing to Harry while spraying my armpits. I'm such a smooth operator. In all the mundane things, it's easy to lose that feeling of purpose. We have love. I don't doubt that. Love is wonderful as it is, and I guess there's even bigger adventures than marriage. We could start a family. Kids. Wow. That could be good, actually. Maybe I'll leave that conversation to another day, eh? One thing at a time. Oh. I could propose and he says no. He wants this too, right? A family together. I think I'd like that. The most important day of my life ahead. I'll need these. I don't know what lies ahead, but it'll be amazing. I love you. Have a good day. It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things. I think I've done that too much. I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on. Take this elevator. So much work went into this, and I never even thought about it before now. Thousands of hours of people's lives were dedicated to making this box on wire. I just assume it will always work. I only pay attention when something goes wrong. Assumptions, patterns. I've got to pay more attention. I'm going to change things. I don't feel like I chose to be here, but it is a good place. Some routine is good, sure. But, I don't know. We're getting lazy. I don't want that. I can't believe how lucky I've been, and I took it for granted. Things are okay, but they're not going anywhere. It's time to take control. I can't think how often we chatted there, talking late into the night. Maybe we'll go feed the ducks this weekend. I love the way they walk. He's got to know how I feel about him. I love him so much.
We loved to feed the ducks on a Sunday. We worked all through the week, and Saturdays we were too tired to do much, but Sundays were our time. We loved it in the summer, like it was when it happened. But the bare trees in the winter had their beauty too. We would walk among them in thick coats, holding each other for warmth. It was our place to be together. It's silly, really. There's nothing here that doesn't make me think of him. He would quack at the ducks. He pretended to have conversations with them, and that we saw the same ones every week. He began to set up little stories between them. And then one day, he was gone. I don't know yet whose fault the crash was, but he was driving. He was alive in the ambulance. But they say he never woke up. I think I prefer it that way. He was dead by the time I got to the hospital. Everything here reminds me of him. I need to clear it all away. He loved travelling. I was the one who collected the souvenirs. I wanted to make this our home. It's only mine now. And I don't really want it anymore. His toothbrush. Well-worn books. Some of them he read again and again. He told me he would remember these forever. When friends come to visit me, they speak to me in a quiet voice, as if a loud sound might startle me. They ask about the missing objects. I say, I'm going for a minimalist look. They nod and give me a strained smile, but I know they don't believe me. They know the reminders hurt too much. I've been walking more since he died. I've been trying to get away from the memories to find something new, but everywhere I go, I see things that make me think of him. I'm not ready to sit at a table for one yet, staring at an empty seat. He once told me that you could judge how much money there is in an area by the state of the street lamps. Something about the style and the freshness of the paint. I don't remember. I decided to stay inside more. Keep to the inside. I can control what's in here. But even at work, there are reminders. I need this space to be clear, so I can be free. What would he want me to do? He'd want me to be happy, but I can't think of him yet. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to. Get rid of all these things. I'll get new things, things that I didn't use with him. How are we supposed to go on? People talk about getting closure, but his story was only half written. I can't stand how I feel inside right now. Something has to change. I'm nearly there. It's all gone. He's gone. But he's not. I can't get rid of him. Why won't he leave me alone? I'm different now. He changed me. I feel the space he's left inside me. But it's okay. It's his shape. That's going to be part of me that I carry forever. Denying that would be killing him again. It's okay to long for him still. But I know it's okay to live again too. He would laugh at me now, crying over silly things. And hug me too. And hold me. I wish he could hold me again. I can still hear his voice reading his favourite books to me as I drifted off to sleep. This might be all there is. Just this one life. I don't know, but I was lucky to meet him. and to love him.
I'll never forget him. He reached out to me when I'd pushed him away. Once I looked after him, but that day he looked after me. Everything was changing fast. He was changing too, becoming mature. I saw things with him that I would never have dreamed of as a child. He often visited over the years. And then you came to see me. And then you told me what had happened.
It's one of those strange things. I had just been thinking about Will. We kept in touch a little, then a few years later became friends again when he was working based out of London. It felt good to have him in my life again. He talked about his job, his family. He often spoke about you both. He told me how happy he was. And then you called me. Hello? He was happy at the end.
He loved you both so much. I still keep on thinking I'll see him again, or that he's walking beside me just in the corner of my eye. It's silly, really. I was angry. Angry he was gone, that he'd been taken, but I was wrong. He wasn't taken. He had already been given to us. We had him in our lives. We could love him. And we always will. After we had talked, I went back to the park, to the place where Will and I had spent so much time together. They had shared fragments of his life with me that I had never known. I felt at peace. Talking with them, even without Will, I felt I wasn't so alone. They carry him with them too. I just needed to let myself see that. Life isn't a planned event. It's just a journey. And some travellers only stay with us for a little while. We had good times, better times than some people get in their whole lives. That's enough for me.